Ladies, let me tell you something that a lot of women don't realize. Sometimes the best way to get a man's attention isn't by calling, it isn't by texting, and it isn't by constantly being available. Sometimes the most powerful move you can make is silence. See, women are natural nurturers. You love hard, you give, you care, and you show it. You send the good morning text, you check in throughout the day, you call him when he's quiet, and you put in the effort to make sure he knows you're thinking about him. That's a beautiful thing, but here's the problem. When a man gets too used to it, he starts taking it for granted. The same good morning text he once smiled at, now he scrolls past. The same call he used to be excited for, now he delays answering. Not because he doesn't care deep down, but because he got comfortable. And comfort, when it's unchecked, can breed laziness in relationships. Now here's the part that flips the whole game. The moment you stop, the moment you decide not to send that text, not to answer every call, not to constantly be the one reaching out, that's when his brain goes into overdrive. A man's mind works funny when silence hits him. He's sitting there thinking, hold on, she usually texts me first. Why hasn't she today? Did I do something wrong? Is she upset? Or worse, is she talking to somebody else? That quiet, that space you create, it messes with him in a way that words never could. See, a man doesn't like the idea of losing control of your attention. When you're always there, he feels secure, like he can put you on the back burner for a moment. But when you're not there, when your energy shifts, he feels that void instantly. It makes him think. It makes him worry. And it makes him realize just how valuable your presence is. Men are wired to chase. That's in our DNA. We value what we have to put effort into. When you're doing all the chasing, he loses his drive because the job is already done. He doesn't have to fight for you because you're handing yourself over without requiring much in return. But when you pull back, when you stop overextending yourself, you force him into a position where he has to pursue again. He has to put in the effort. And that's when you see his true colors. Because a man who really cares will notice the change and come running. He'll start calling, he'll start texting, he'll start showing up in ways he didn't before. But the man who doesn't care, he'll let the silence sit, and that silence tells you everything you need to know. Think about it like this. If you're always calling and texting, you're basically feeding his ego. You're giving him the comfort of knowing you're locked in, no matter what he does. But when you take that away, when you stop feeding that ego, he goes hungry. And a hungry man starts looking for food. That's why you'll see him suddenly pop up, suddenly send that, hey, what's up? Message, suddenly act like he's concerned about you. That's not by accident. That's because your silence is ringing louder than any words could. Ladies, I've seen this play out so many times. A woman thinks she has to keep pouring into a man to keep his attention. But what she doesn't realize is that sometimes pulling back is what actually gets his attention. Men respect what they fear losing. That's just the truth. When he feels like you're slipping away, that's when his real effort shows up. That's when he starts to remember all the things he liked about you in the first place. That's when he replays your laugh in his head, your smile, the way you made him feel. And the more he thinks about it, the more it drives him crazy. Because now he doesn't have the constant reassurance you used to give. Now he's got to sit with the thought, did I mess this up? Is she moving on? Who's she with? And let me tell you, a man's imagination is powerful. You don't have to say a word. He'll build the whole story in his own head. But here's the key. You can't fake this. You can't do the whole, I'm not going to text him, but then sit by your phone all day waiting for him to call. No, you've got to actually shift your energy. Live your life. Focus on your goals. Hang out with your friends. Go out and enjoy yourself. That's what makes the silence powerful, because it's not just about ignoring him. It's about showing him through your actions that your world does not revolve around him. And when a man sees that, it does something to him. It either motivates him to step up, or it shows you he's not the man for you. Either way, you win, because you're not wasting time begging for attention that should have been freely given. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying play childish games. This isn't about trying to manipulate a man. It's about respecting yourself enough to stop over, giving when you're not being matched. It's about creating space so that his effort can meet yours. Because the truth is, when a man really loves you, he doesn't need you to beg him for attention. He gives it because he wants to. And when he feels that silence, when he notices your energy shift, it wakes him up. It makes him remember that your time, your love, your presence are not guaranteed. They're privileges. And if he wants to keep them, he's got to act like it. Think about how powerful this is. One simple decision, choosing not to call, choosing not to text, can flip the dynamic in your favor. Suddenly he's chasing. Suddenly he's wondering. Suddenly he's the one feeling anxious. And that's not because you did something dramatic. That's because you finally gave yourself the space to let him miss you. And that's exactly what men need sometimes. They need to be reminded of your value, not through words, but through absence. Because absence has a way of shining a light on presence like nothing else. So if you're sitting there wondering why he doesn't text back like he used to, why he doesn't call like he once did, maybe it's time to pull back. Not to punish him, not to play games, but to protect your energy. Because your love, your time, your attention, that's valuable. And if he can't see that when you're giving it, trust me, he'll see it when it's gone. And when that happens, don't be surprised when he starts blowing up your phone, when he starts asking to see you, when he starts putting in the effort he should have been putting in all along. That's what silence does. It shifts the power. It puts the responsibility back on him. And if he's the right man, he'll step up. If he's not, you'll know. Let me break it down for you. I want you to really hear this because most women miss it completely. Men notice everything, but here's the truth: men notice differently than women. You see, women will overanalyze a lack of text or a missed call and panic, but men don't stress over that kind of stuff the same way. What men notice and what drives them absolutely crazy is when they can't control or predict your attention. When they suddenly realize you're not theirs to command, that's when the game changes. Here's how it works. You've been texting, calling, always available, maybe even double texting to get a response. And over time, he got used to it. He got comfortable. And once comfort sets in, effort goes out the window. That's not just me talking. This is human behavior. You can give someone too much too soon, and they start undervaluing it. And here's the kicker: it's not even about love sometimes. It's about the fact that humans take for granted what's always there. But the moment you stop being there on demand, suddenly your value skyrockets. That's the law of attraction in action. Absence, ladies, absence is the secret weapon. Now, don't get it twisted. This is not about playing games or being petty. This is about strategy, self-respect, and understanding how a man's mind works. When you stop calling, stop texting, stop showing up constantly, you're not punishing him. You're showing yourself respect. You're saying, my time, my energy, my attention are precious, and you're going to earn it. And the man who genuinely cares, he notices this. Oh, he notices it in ways you wouldn't believe. Suddenly, he's thinking more about you than he ever did when you were constantly available. He's replaying your conversations in his head, remembering your laugh, your smile, the way your voice made him feel. The silence you create is louder than any message could ever be. And here's the psychological truth that most women don't realize: men are wired to chase. That's not a stereotype, that's biology. A man feels alive and validated when he has to pursue, when he has to make an effort. If everything is handed to him on a silver platter, he loses interest. But the moment you stop giving so freely, the moment you create that little bit of distance, he starts chasing again. He starts putting in effort because now he has to. Now he's not just casually interacting with you. Now he's working to maintain your attention. And that's when things get real. That's when he goes from complacent to alert, from careless to intentional. You have to understand the power of silence. Don't misunderstand me. Silence doesn't mean ignoring him entirely or playing childish mind games. It means redirecting your energy, living your life, and letting him feel the shift. Go out, spend time with your friends, focus on your hobbies, work on your career, laugh, have fun. And here's the magic he's going to notice. Not because you told him to, not because you forced the issue, but because your energy, your presence, your independence, it stands out. And men can't resist that. They may try to act unaffected, but deep down they notice. Deep down they start thinking about you more than ever. And slowly they begin to go crazy over the very thing they thought they could take for granted. And let me tell you something else. Ladies, a man's imagination is a dangerous thing. When you step back and stop giving constant attention, he's left alone with his thoughts. And those thoughts often grow wild. He'll start to think, why isn't she texting me back? Did I mess up? Is she upset? Or worse, is she seeing someone else? That's what drives him crazy, uncertainty. That little uncertainty you create with your independence and silence. That's powerful. That's when he realizes the magnitude of your presence in his life. That's when he starts questioning his own actions, his own priorities, and wondering if he's about to lose something truly special. But here's the most important thing. You have to stay consistent. This isn't a one-day thing. This is about a lifestyle, a mindset. If he texts, you don't have to ignore him completely, but you respond on your own terms. If he calls, answer when it's convenient for you. Let him know through your actions that you're not waiting by your phone, that your life doesn't revolve around his schedule. Because when a man realizes that you are not dependent on him for your happiness, it triggers something inside him. He starts to value you more. He starts to see your worth. Because the only way to appreciate a good thing is to know it can be lost. And a man who truly values you, he won't let that silence go unanswered. Another thing women need to understand, absence creates clarity. Not just for him, but for you too. When you stop obsessing over every message, every call, every little sign, you start to see the relationship clearly. You start to notice whether he's willing to step up when challenged. You start to recognize the difference between a man who's genuinely interested and a man who's just comfortable. You start to reclaim your power. And trust me, nothing drives a man crazier than a woman who knows her worth and isn't afraid to live by it. And let me tell you, it's not about making him jealous or manipulating him. It's about showing him the standard he should meet. A man will rise to the level of respect you demand. If you demand effort, attention, and care by simply not overgiving, he will rise or he will reveal himself. And either outcome works in your favor. If he rises, you get the man you deserve. If he doesn't, you save yourself from wasting your love on someone who wasn't willing to earn it. That's the beauty of pulling back. That's the power of silence. Ladies, you might be thinking, but Steve, what if he leaves? And let me tell you, if he leaves because you stopped texting, stopped calling, stopped making yourself overly available, then he wasn't meant to stay anyway. The right man will chase. He will step up. He will show you that your love and attention are valuable to him. And the wrong man, well, silence will save you from heartbreak before it even begins. Because sometimes giving a little distance is the best way to protect your heart while testing his. And when he realizes you're not just going to be there for free, when he sees that your attention is earned, that's when he goes crazy for you. That's when he starts to work to keep you. So remember this, no texts, no calls. Do this correctly and watch him go crazy. Not because you're playing a game, but because you've stopped overextending yourself and started respecting your own worth. Your silence becomes the mirror reflecting his own behavior, and that reflection can't be ignored. That reflection can't be silenced. And if he's the right man, he will move mountains to keep your attention. He will fight for you, he will pursue you, and he will show you that your patience, your standards, and your independence were worth every second. Let me be real with you for a minute. I need you to understand something about men that most women completely miss. Men, we notice patterns. We notice when something changes, even if we don't always say it out loud. When you're constantly texting, calling, and always available, it doesn't feel special anymore. You become part of the background. That attention, that energy you give so freely, it loses its power when it's predictable. And I'm not saying this to be harsh. I'm saying it because understanding it can completely change the way your relationships work. Here's the truth, men crave challenge. We like to pursue. We like to know that we have to work to earn something. When you make yourself too available, you take away the very thing that makes us want to chase. It's like giving someone a candy bar every day for free. Eventually, they stop appreciating it. But when that candy bar isn't there, when they realize they don't have it guaranteed, suddenly they want it more than anything. And that's exactly what happens when you stop texting and calling. That silence, that pullback, it creates desire. It creates curiosity. It creates a mental scramble in his head that's impossible to ignore. Now, let me break it down for you even further. When you stop texting him first, when you stop answering immediately, when you pull your energy back, he starts noticing little things he never noticed before. He starts remembering your laugh, the way you smile when you're happy, the little gestures that made him feel special. He starts replaying conversations in his head and thinking, wait, she's not here like she usually is. Did I do something wrong? Why hasn't she reached out? That little uncertainty. That's what drives him crazy. Not anger, not frustration. Curiosity, desire, the need to know where he stands. And ladies, that's powerful. Because as long as he's chasing, as long as he's thinking about you, he's engaged. And engagement is everything in relationships. But here's the thing. This only works if you're doing it from a place of strength, not desperation. Don't sit there and pull back while secretly waiting by your phone for him to call. Don't sit there thinking, if he doesn't text me, I'm going to lose him. No, no, no. You pull back because you respect your time, your energy, your value. You pull back because you know your presence isn't something to give freely to anyone who doesn't earn it. And when you do it from that mindset, that energy, it's magnetic. A man can feel it. He notices it. And when he notices it, he can't ignore it. Now, I've seen this happen over and over again. A woman will pull back, focus on her life, start doing the things she loves, and suddenly the man who was taking her for granted starts paying attention. He starts texting, he starts calling, he starts showing up in ways he never did before. Why? Because your absence highlighted your presence. He realized that your attention isn't something to be taken lightly. He realized that if he doesn't step up, he could lose something truly special. And ladies, when a man starts to realize that, watch out, because he will do things to make sure he doesn't lose you. And let me tell you, it's not just about attention. It's about respect. When you're always chasing, men start to assume they don't have to work for your love, your time, your attention. But when you pull back, you create a boundary. You create a standard. You show him that your love isn't cheap. And respect is what makes a man show up consistently. Respect is what makes him put in the effort, not just for a day, not just when it's convenient, but every single time. Because when he respects you, he realizes that your energy, your attention, your presence, those are treasures, not guarantees. Another thing most women don't understand is how much this affects a man mentally. When you step back, you create space for him to think, to reflect, to notice what he might have been missing. That space forces him to confront his own feelings. And I'll be honest, a lot of men don't like to confront feelings unless they're pushed. That silence you create, that pullback, it's a push he needs. It's a wake-up call that says, if you want her, you have to show up. And it's amazing to watch because once he starts putting in that effort, he's not just doing it for survival. He's doing it because he wants to. He's doing it because he values what you bring into his life. Let me give you an example. I've had women tell me, Steve, I stopped texting him first. I stopped answering right away. And now he's crazy about me. And I'm not talking about temporary excitement. I'm talking about a man who starts investing in you emotionally, mentally, and even physically in ways he never did before. He becomes proactive instead of reactive. He stops taking you for granted. And all of this started with one simple thing: stepping back, not withdrawing love, not being cold, but creating a space where your value is clear, where your worth is obvious, and where he has to rise to meet it. And here's the thing, you're in control. Your energy is powerful. Your attention is precious. Men notice these things even when they don't say it out loud. When you decide to step back, to stop chasing, to stop giving too much, you set the tone for how he interacts with you. You create a standard that can't be ignored. And when he meets that standard, he goes crazy. Not in a bad way, but in the best way. He realizes how much he wants you, how much he needs you, and how much he's willing to fight for you. And that's the kind of man you want in your life. That's the kind of man who will never take you for granted again. And remember, this isn't about manipulation. It's about strategy. It's about understanding human behavior. It's about valuing yourself and your time. It's about creating an environment where a man can rise to his potential because your energy, your independence, and your presence demand it. Because a man who doesn't have to work for you will never fully appreciate you. But a man who chases, who pursues, who works to keep your attention, that man, he's a treasure. And ladies, that's the man you want. So don't be afraid to step back. Don't be afraid to stop texting first. Don't be afraid to let him wait a little. Don't be afraid to focus on your life. Because when you do, something magical happens. He notices, he reflects, he chases. He goes crazy. Not because you're playing games, but because you're showing him your worth. And when he sees your worth, he can't ignore it. That's the power of silence. That's the power of respect. That's the power of knowing your value and letting him see it through his own actions. Let me talk to you about something that too many women don't understand. Men notice everything, but we don't always react the way women expect. You see, women are emotional and expressive. When you like someone, you show it. You call, you text, you check in, and you make sure he knows you're thinking about him. That's wonderful, but here's the catch. Men take for granted what's always available. When you're always there, always texting, always calling, we start assuming it's guaranteed. And the moment it feels guaranteed, the effort goes out the window. That's just how men work. Here's the thing, and I want you to pay attention the moment you stop. The moment you stop chasing, stop texting, stop answering every call immediately, that's when his brain starts working overtime. Men are wired to chase, but if you give too much too soon, that drive disappears. But pull back even slightly, create some distance, and suddenly he's thinking about you constantly. He's replaying your conversations, remembering your laugh, your smile, the way your energy made him feel. He's wondering why you're not reaching out. That little uncertainty, that little gap you create, it drives him crazy. And it does it without you having to say a word. Now I know some women are scared to do this. You're thinking, if I don't text him, what if he forgets me? What if he loses interest? Let me tell you something. The right man won't forget you. The right man won't lose interest. The right man will notice, he'll respond, he'll step up. And the wrong man, he'll fade away. And that's okay, because silence will save you from investing your love in someone who doesn't deserve it. Pulling back is not punishment. Pulling back is protection. It's setting a standard. It's showing a man that your time, your energy, and your attention are valuable. Let me give you a picture. Imagine a man who's gotten used to texting you every day, expecting a response instantly. He's grown comfortable. He's started to take your presence for granted. But then one day you decide to pull back. You don't text first. You don't answer immediately. You focus on your life. You focus on yourself. You create a little distance. And suddenly he starts noticing. He starts thinking, wait, where is she? Why isn't she texting me? Did I do something wrong? Who's she with? That's the power of absence. That's the power of letting a man feel your value without forcing it. And here's the important part. Men are simple but complicated at the same time. We don't always communicate our feelings the way women expect. We may not say, I miss you, right away, but we notice the change. We think about it, we analyze it, we replay our interactions with you, and slowly but surely we realize what we're missing. Your silence, your independence, your refusal to chase. That's the signal that we need to step up or risk losing you. And when we start realizing that, we go crazy, not in a bad way, but in the, I need to get this right way. That's the effect you want. That's the effect of stepping back and letting your worth shine. Now let's talk about respect. When you overgive, when you constantly chase, men stop respecting the effort. They start assuming it's guaranteed. But when you set boundaries, when you show that your love, attention, and presence are earned, respect comes immediately. Respect is what drives a man to pursue, to invest, to value. And ladies, respect is what makes him crazy for you. When he realizes he has to work for your time and energy, he doesn't take it lightly. Suddenly, your value becomes undeniable. Suddenly, he can't stop thinking about you. Suddenly, he wants to be the man worthy of your attention. And let me be real with you, silence is more powerful than any words you could say. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to beg for attention. You don't need to constantly justify your actions. Your absence speaks louder than any text. Your independence speaks louder than any call. When you stop overgiving, when you stop being too available, a man's mind starts running in circles. He's thinking about you more than ever. He's reflecting on his own actions. He's realizing what he could lose. And that realization, ladies, is what makes him act. That realization is what makes him chase. And here's something women forget. A man's imagination can be dangerous. When you pull back, he starts imagining things. He wonders if you're upset, if he did something wrong, if you're seeing someone else. He starts analyzing every little interaction, every little word, every little gesture. That's the power of your silence. That's the power of not being predictable. Men crave challenge. They crave the chase. When you take yourself off automatic and create a little mystery, it sparks that chase instinct. It triggers his desire. It triggers his effort. And it drives him crazy in the best possible way. But remember, this only works if you do it right. You can't pull back while sitting by your phone, anxiously waiting for him to text. That's not power, that's desperation. You pull back because you respect yourself, because you value your time and energy, because you understand your worth. You live your life. You focus on your goals. You spend time with your friends. You pursue your passions. And while you do that, he notices. He starts reaching out. He starts showing up. He starts putting in effort. And if he doesn't, that silence will tell you everything you need to know. And here's the ultimate truth the right man will chase. He will step up. He will invest in you emotionally, mentally, and physically. The wrong man will fade, and that's okay because you protected your energy and your heart. Silence, distance, and independence are tools. They are not manipulations. They are strategies to reveal the truth about a man's intentions and to show him your value. And when he sees your value, he can't ignore it. He can't take it lightly. He goes crazy trying to earn what you've always been worth. So ladies, no texts, no calls. Do this and watch the effect. Watch him notice. Watch him reflect. Watch him pursue. Watch him show up in ways he never did before. Not because you're playing games, but because you finally understand the power of your presence and your energy. Not because you're desperate for his attention, but because you respect yourself enough to only give it when it's earned. And when a man sees that, when he feels that, when he experiences that, he goes crazy. And that's exactly what you want.